Hi, my name is Brenda Titus, and I'm a professional hypnotist in Orange County, California. For information about my program and in person services, please go to my website, ochypnotherapy.com. So, welcome to today's Thoughts from the Hypnosis Office. And today's topic is the lie of the modern Wonder Woman. So, I've been thinking about mothers. It's Mother's Day is coming, and so I've been thinking a lot about the mothers in my life. And I do admit that I have probably bought my sister and my sister-in-law both some sort of Mother's Day card over the years that has a Wonder Woman, and she's got her briefcase and, doing all of the things, right? And I really think that, I want to rethink this idea of praising all the things where it comes to the mothers in our lives. So the thing is that, especially what I see in my clients, is that we get a lot of images about unattainable ideals. The ideal mother, the ideal woman, the ideal person. So we have things about looks, we have things about weight, we have things about hair, makeup, clothing, and then that's just the exterior. Then we add, having a home that's orderly and functioning and clean. We've got the people in the home eating good, healthy food. Then we've got people who have careers or hobbies and often, children, and especially even then if you've got high functioning, high achievement oriented children, just goes on and on and on. And what it can really be a lot. And then at some point, people come to me, they come to the hypnosis office because they are dealing with this a lot. So the clients that I see, and this is the other part of when I said I'm thinking about the mothers in my life, of course, the people in my personal life, but I work a lot with mothers here in the hypnosis office. People who are kind of pulling their hair out and saying, oh my gosh, I am overwhelmed. And by the time they get to see me, we're talking about how this has become an issue of stress, anxiety, emotional overwhelm. And so I I really see that in the end, one of the things that people ultimately, as we dig down underneath all of that, is this sense of, am I good enough? And am I doing enough? And when we really sit down and look at all of the things, and I say, well, I mean, even what is enough, by the way. So that brings us back to the title, the lie of the modern Wonder Woman. So when we think about Wonder Woman, I mean, obviously it's a really great ideal, but when we think about, traditionally Wonder Woman, beautiful, strong, wise, she is literally a superhero. And actually she's modeled after a demigod. So she is part God on top of being part human. So the last time I checked, my clients are not superheroes, and they are not part God and part human either. So so we have to rethink this idea of the Wonder Woman. So I wanted to think about this from the perspective of actually getting back to human potential, but also human limitations, because in the end, we do live in these human bodies. And these human bodies, really, when we get down to the idea of how much we can take on, and especially where it comes to then how the body manifests illness or injury, or how the emotional element around what happens with a lot of stress in our lives. So in the hypnosis office, we do a lot of work to dig down to those deeper roots associated with the fears around, am I good enough? Am I doing enough? And then we really work together to rewrite the story and get down to the truth about what we need to do versus what we should do versus even what we what we really are obligated to do. So we get to the truth as opposed to the myth. So I also think that then it's important to really work with my clients to emphasize their strengths, really recognize, okay, within your things that you need to do, want to do, should do, have to do, all of those things, what are the strengths? What are the areas that are easy for you to do, that you can accomplish, take care of, manage, and those we can put on the autopilot. Sometimes we also have to look at the parts that they don't want to do or have to do, and do we remove those from the to-do list, or do we get a sidekick, a helper to help us with those things? And then of course there is sometimes the other important part where we really look at, well, are there areas for improvement that they choose to improve on as well? So like I said, my clients are often seeing me for some sort of, stress related issue, emotional issues, relationship issues, just feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm overwhelmed, I'm stuck, or even, I'm in a particular stage in life, but I'm ready to move to another stage of life. And so we look at all of these things, and it can be a lot of fun, especially when we deal with the difficult, painful parts that have been driving it for so long. And then what we really want to do is not only manage the stress response associated with these things, but then we also want to sorry, I'm double checking my notes. Remember, my vision isn't so good. So deal with the things that are causing the stress. So deal with the stress response, but also see what we can do to manage and mitigate the things that are causing the stress. So this is where I really wanted to think about even an assignment for this week. And the first thing really has to do with making your goals or your to-dos on your to-do list achievable. And I added in my notes, achievable for a human as opposed to achievable for a superhero or a demigod. So first thing, make your goals achievable. Next, see where in your life you need help. You need your sidekick to come in and take over some of the responsibilities. And obviously that help can be, somebody within the family as we divvy up responsibilities. Sometimes it means hiring help, hiring assistance, so we can be aware of those things. And of course, because I do value growth, and people, usually when we say, okay, well, I don't want this, but then what do we want? So we want to think about how we want to grow. I also think that it's valuable to think about stretch goals as well. So those are those extra things. And I too work on how I do my to-do list so that I have the things that really are, theoretically we learn this in time management, but the reality is how we do it, right? There's the things that we have to do that are, scheduled commitments. My sessions obviously are scheduled commitments, my other appointments, scheduled commitments. And then there's the things that are the other things that we really need to do, should do. And then of course we get to, well, then if I have time, and because I deal with some back issues, sometimes it's time and energy, literally the physical capacity or mental and physical capacity to do a bit more. So we've got, our need to do, our should do, our have to do parts of the list. And then there's the stretch goal of, and then if I have time, I can do one thing or another, or if I have the energy. And so those are some ways that you can think about your stretch goal as well. So like I said, I'm doing that as a bit of a challenge and assignment so that we can get out of this Wonder Woman myth lie and actually be our own superhero. And actually, I hope that you come back next week after thinking about all of this, and we're going to talk more about being your own superhero. So thank you for joining me today for Thoughts at the Thoughts from the Hypnosis Office, and I hope that you have a wonderful week finding a way to actually unburden yourself from having to be a superhero, but finding ways that you can embrace your humanity and all of the wonderful things that we can do, and to push, to grow, and to be amazing. So, yes, be amazing. Have a great week. I'll see you next week.